Disclosure Day is not the movie you think it is, so here is my non-spoiler review. So getting out of an early screening of Disclosure Day, this was a movie that I was very much interested in. I mean, how can you not? It's a Steven Spielberg movie, and we're here to talk about aliens, once again. But with this movie being 3 hours long, it was a movie that either was going to make it for me, or just not at all, and I unfortunately kind of landed somewhere in the middle. The visuals of this movie are fantastic. I would say a lot of the cinematography work in this movie was chef's kiss. On top of that, the music and the score in this movie is absolutely beautiful, so you could definitely tell you're in a Steven Spielberg movie. And I would easily say the first 30 to 45 minutes of this film really does have you encapsulated in his mind. We're getting introduced to our characters, we're getting the action right off the beginning of the movie, and it looks like the plot is really moving forward. But that, unfortunately, is where the movie stopped for me. This movie suffers from one thing and one thing only. A lot of times, these characters will have these really good overarching developments that just go nowhere. And even our main character, being Emily Blunt's character, which she did a phenomenal job, constantly had this problem within the movie. One of the things that this movie does that I absolutely just do not like when movies do this is, instead of showing us to explain a certain scenario that's going on in the movie, it kept telling us what was happening. It just makes the viewer feel not very intelligent. On top of that, this movie really did suffer from just being too long. There were so many plot devices just getting dropped and then reintroduced to, again, do nothing to progress the story. From the first 45 minutes of this movie to not until the way end of the movie, there's an entire middle part of this movie that just felt like a big waste of time. Even though there were certain aspects of the movie that I did not like, and there were certain things that I was expecting that I did not get out of it, there were people that walked out that did really enjoy the movie. It still gives that magic of Steven Spielberg. The music, again, was phenomenal, and the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. When it comes to Disclosure Day, this is going to be something that you're kind of probably have to experience for yourself, but as it stands right now, I'm probably going to have to give it a 4.5 out of 10, but I still recommend to go see it.
Apparently, Steven Spielberg said his movie Disclosure Day is going to make Christians question their religion. I'm not buying it. I beg to differ. We've seen this time and time again. They're going to go into that movie and they're going to walk right out and call it demonic. They're going to say it's very deceptive, very evil. What I've noticed is as soon as information starts pushing up against people's worldview, they call it demonic. It's easier. Y'all already know who's going to be front and center, right? Me. Yeah, because I already know how Hollywood do. They put shit out there in front of the public before the public is ready to have the conversation. They've been doing it for years. Think about it. Years ago, they was showing AI in movies and people was laughing and eating their popcorn. Now look. People laughed at surveillance. Now look. A lot of people could not fathom digital identities. Now look. Not that Hollywood is predicting the future. They're showing you what it is. What it's always been. I'm going to save the full breakdown for when I go see the movie, but I just want to talk about the name of the movie for a second. Disclosure. Not invasion, not attack, not destruction, but disclosure. And I think that's an interesting choice of words, don't you? Because disclosure means you're going to reveal something. You're going to make something known that's been unknown. You're going to bring something to the light. So the first thing that comes to mind is, what exactly could they be disclosing? Sure, it's going to be aliens, but I don't think it's about the aliens. I think it's about belief system. Hence why Steven Spielberg said what he said. That's where the Christian conversation got interesting to me, because I know, like I said before, when something challenges others' programming, they're going to give a lot of pushback. Truth in plain sight, that term does not resonate with these folks. Some people challenging their beliefs feels like you challenging their identity because they both tied to one another. Years now, we've been watching the foundation crack in every major institution, like religion, like the government, education, media, healthcare, finance. Now people starting to question everything, not because they rebellious, maybe a little bit of that too, but it's because a lot of shit not adding up. They starting to see the contradictions. The veil is gone. See, here's the thing. Disclosure is not just one event. It's a whole process. Truth be told, we've been in disclosure for years. Little pieces, little revelations, little breadcrumbs here and there, little truths, little contradictions. Notice how every year the conversations get a little less taboo. People stop sounding so crazy. The thing about all of this is this movie is not preparing anybody for anything new. It's allowing people to have the conversations they weren't ready to have before. Hollywood loves symbolism. They're going to tell you one story on the surface, but there's another hidden meaning underneath. That's again why I'm going to be front and center, because you know what I'm going to do. Decode. The symbolism, the numbers, the language, the archetypes, hidden messages, the parallels to what's happening right now. The movie is released at a particular time. Pay attention. A specific message keeps repeating over and over. Pay attention. Multiple industries start talking about the same exact things. Pay attention. History has taught me one thing. It's sometimes the biggest story is not the reveal. Sometimes it's, why are they showing this to me right now? Let me know in the comments which I think the biggest piece of disclosure in this movie is going to be. And if y'all plan to go see it. As always, peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
Is Disclosure Day the blockbuster of the summer? But before I get into it, my name's Jay. If you're looking for new TV shows or movies to watch, just give me a follow. Spielberg is back with Disclosure Day. It's been a minute since we've seen him in his sci-fi bag, but has the wait been worth it? So I'm not going to get too much into the premise. If you haven't already, go check out the trailer. It's pretty much all in there, but it's a sci-fi government conspiracy thriller. So Disclosure Day has all the ingredients to be the blockbuster of the summer. Of course, you have Steven Spielberg behind the lens, and then you've got the amazing cast that includes Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, and Colin Firth. And also, not to forget, you've got one of the best screenwriters in the industry responsible for the story, David Koepp. But unfortunately, I don't think that this was enough to give it that title of the blockbuster of the summer. I do think that there are some films still to come this summer that will take that title. We've got a certain Christopher Nolan movie coming. We also have a certain Marvel movie coming and a DC one too. But one thing you do know that you're gonna get from a Spielberg film is an emotional connection. And this film delivers on that 100%. The story is just so thought-provoking and engaging, and not just in a way where, you're thinking about government cover-ups and conspiracy theories, but also the purpose of the human race and faith and religion and what it all means in the grand scheme of things. Emily Blunt, I thought, had a really, really good performance. The way she was just switching between different emotions and her mannerisms and her facial expressions. I don't want to really get too much into her character because I don't want to give anything away, but she was really good. I love the way that even though it touched on some very deep and serious and current themes, that it still found a way to be funny and lighthearted and just sweet. Was it perfect? No. I mean, there were moments where I thought the story was quite predictable. And there were even times where I thought the CGI was a bit questionable, but this is still a very, very good film. And I would encourage everybody to still go and watch it on the biggest screen possible. Disclosure Day will be in cinemas everywhere this Friday, the 12th of June. So go check it out.
So Spielberg, in an interview about his movie Disclosure Day, seemed to hint at the idea that this movie might cause people, I guess because of the implications about aliens and possibility of them being real out there, that this movie may cause us to rethink what we think about religion. Is God really there? Are these our creators? He was hinting at that. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to see the movie, but I just want to say this from the very beginning right here. If any of you guys out there are worried, like, what's this going to bring up? Are we going to find out that we actually come from aliens? This has no bearing on there being a God, that him not being real, and that Christianity is not true. I think for multiple reasons. First, I would go to Jesus. I would go to the evidence that we have actually for him, what he said, what he did, the fulfilled prophecies, the eyewitnesses who saw him. Let's not forget about all that. Let's not forget about all the evidence that we have about him and people who witnessed his miracles, saw what he did, heard what he said, and then saw him rise from the grave. They saw him die with their eyes and do things that people can't do supernaturally, right? Like rise from the grave. And then he taught them, Holy Spirit coming inside of us. I mean, we could go on and on and on about that. I think, if anything, I think that could be something that would be a problem for many people out there who aren't rooted in Scripture and don't have this deep relationship with God, like nominal Christianity, which is big right now within our country right now. Nominal Christians out there who don't know much about Christianity and jump on here a lot and listen to people and watch movies. I think there is a possibility for some of them to be rocked in their faith because you're not rooted in the faith anyway. This could be something that the enemy could use to distract you. But let's talk about aliens. Okay, look, I don't know. We don't have to get into the argument. Is this really aliens? Is this demons? Is it something else? Is it just technology? We're not even going to get into that right there because, to be honest, I don't know. Maybe they're going to disclose that to us. Maybe we'll figure that out. But let's just say there are aliens. Let's just say all this is real. Let's just play out what he's saying right there. We watched the movie. Let's say he has some inside intel, and we're going to learn that they really are real out there. Does that mean there's no God? Does that necessarily mean that we as humans come from these aliens? They're our creators, and there's no more need for God anymore? Absolutely not. It doesn't prove that. And this is one way I'll throw it out there to you guys, and I would say this. We're talking about these aliens, okay? Let's be as positive as we can about them, okay? Let's say that they are far more advanced than us. Looking at this technology and these crafts that they're flying around in, if that's really them, far more advanced. At least that's what we're getting told. It's way more than what any of us can do. So let's just grant that to them. They've come from far away, doing things that we can't do, and are here on our planet. Now, what I know about them, what I've really learned, if we're talking about them being our creators, they're the ones who made everything. Supposedly there's been crash landings. Supposedly there's been recovered bodies. Supposedly they are out there and are hiding from us, keeping themselves from us. Is this our creators? This is what I'm saying. Like, we're worried about them being our creators, yet we see that they appear to be mortal, right? They can die, they can crash. They're not perfect, even though they could possibly be more advanced than us. And here's what I think you got to understand. If we're talking about a creator within our universe, most believe this, that it's not eternal. It hasn't always been here. There was a point when it wasn't, right? It's expanding, and there was a point when it came into being at a certain time. We're talking about aliens there. We're talking about these beings, even if they're far more advanced than us. We're not talking about them floating around in their saucers outside of, creation. We're talking about them being within creation with you and I, meaning they're a part of it. They have bodies, they have limits to what they can do. They have to be in these crafts. I mean, everything you see about them is that they are a part of this creation. The creator, again, we'll just speak in general terms here. The creator who made all of this, space-time, matter, everything, has to be outside of it. Immaterial, spaceless, timeless, personal, to choose to create. It has to be something. That's all the things that we come up with when we kind of define who God is. It has to be something that's outside of that, not something that's really smart and really advanced within the creation. It has to be something that is outside of it. So you guys out there, if you're worried about this movie, I don't know what all this is going to do. Man, this is crazy times right now. I'm here as a pastor talking about Scripture and aliens at the same time. I never thought I would be here at this time, but I do want to just give you guys some comfort on this and say, if we do find out there's aliens all around us, that does not mean there is no God and we came from Him. Not in any way.
Listen, if you told me this was a still from Disclosure Day, I probably would believe you. Disclosure Day is giving mad flashbacks to the host. I went to the first session of Disclosure Day this morning with the full intent of giving you a full breakdown of this film. Instead, I want to shout this from the rooftops because, oh my gosh. The Host is a 2013 release film by Stephenie Meyer. It follows the concept of an alien species overtaking the minds of humans to make our race more peaceful. Except our protagonist Melanie is still awake inside the mind of her host and ends up falling forming an unlikely friendship with her. There's a human and an alien living in the same mind. Without spoiling anything, Disclosure Day is not unlike that. Except this is a Spielberg film, so expect the aliens to look a little bit more like E.T. It has a beautiful yet a very realistic take on aliens, kind of similar to E.T. is, yet delivered for a much more modern audience, met with the host action and the race for survival. My little sci-fi heart is so happy.
So I watched Disclosure Day last night, right? I'm not going to reveal anything, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the film, and it's okay, right? You know, I think it's a little bit overhyped, but it's still brilliant. The acting was absolutely phenomenal. The story was okay. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's definitely worth the watch. And if you've watched Minority Report from 2002 with Tom Cruise in it, sometimes it reminded me of that. It's definitely, I'd probably, I'd say definitely go check it out. It's a cool film, but it's nothing to run and trip over for, if you know what I mean. So, but it's still very cool. I mean, I still think Spielberg's earlier stuff was absolutely phenomenal. He done a great job this time, of course, and it was brilliant. And again, the acting was fantastic. It's a little bit long. It's about 2.5 hours, but other than that, yeah.
Update, it's not good. In fact, it's bad. It's really bad. I saw it a couple of days ago and I wasn't allowed to talk about it, but now I'm ready to share my truth. I was so disappointed because I love his work and it's been so hyped, but it was just so mid. First of all, I was going to give a warning about spoilers, but actually everything that you see in the trailer is what happens in the film. It's essentially a 2-hour chase movie with a half-hour climax. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. And okay, that could have worked if it was done spectacularly well, but it isn't. Also, this whole chase that was going on felt really frustrating because the characters' reactions to things were just not making sense to me. Everyone was finding it so hard to understand what was going on, and it felt like it was just a plot device to just drag the whole thing out. Are there decent performances though? Not really. All the characters are really one-dimensional, apart from maybe Emily Blunt, who has a lot of charisma and is funny at all the right moments. But literally everybody else was just blah. And when it comes to the aliens, don't expect anything new. This was just your run-of-the-mill, big-headed alien. I think the biggest thing for me was that all of the marketing and the conversations that they've sparked about the moral questions and the impact that disclosure would have on society, this is not executed at all on the level that I was expecting. During the film, I literally kept thinking, this is a poor man's version of Arrival, with none of the style and none of the substance. I felt nothing. So do I recommend that you watch it? At your own risk. Maybe my expectations were too high. I've seen a few people say that they absolutely loved it and it was the film of the year for them. I don't understand that at all. For me, I left the cinema irritated. I don't like to lie to you, sorry.
If you're not paying attention, the latest Steven Spielberg movie that's going to be released this Friday, June 12th, feels more like a preparation film. And why do I say that? Because the movie Disclosure Day is about UFOs and aliens and has a lot of eerie similarities to the Alien files that were just dropped recently. And in another eerie similarity to what some congresspeople have claimed, Steven Spielberg himself made the claim that his new movie Disclosure Day will make Christians second guess their entire religion. So ask yourself this question. It's just a movie, right? Why would you make a statement like that? What do you know? Check out the trailer for yourself.
We're interrupting our coverage. It's unclear if this is an official government disclosure.
I can see them. They're coming.
They're here.
This will upend all established order across the entire world.
This is Disclosure Day.
And some early reviews that are coming out in regards to this film laid claims that it's as scary as can be. And others that have reviewed the film also are making claim about these aliens and how realistic they look in this movie. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Will you be going to see Disclosure Day, Friday, June 12th? And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Okay, it's no secret. There's a movie called Disclosure Day coming out in T-minus, I don't even know, June 12th. It's going to be released to the movie theater. And I'm almost positive from now until the day that it comes out, it will be all over your For You page. But have you guys noticed anything other than what they're trying to feed the public? Have you noticed this? So when you do a simple Google search, you can come up with a bunch of posters, and it's always an eye, okay? Let's go ahead and scroll through the images when I pull up Disclosure Day. So as I'm scrolling through, there's always one common denominator. With the movie posters is there's always an eye. Whether it's a deer, whether it's a person, whether it's just an actual eyeball, it's an eye. The all-seeing eye. Trust me, nothing is done by mistake. There is no coincidences when they're pushing this type of stuff on us. None whatsoever. We started with Leave the World Behind, and now we're on to Disclosure Day. And both of those movies seem to have a thread, a common thread. And you know what they say, they always have to tell us. They're always just telling us. To them it's to avoid karmic retribution, that whole thing. And before you jump down my throat, no, it does not say that in the Bible. No, to the guy who made that video, it absolutely does not say that in the Bible. But they make up their own rules that aren't always in the Bible. That's when you need to have your discernment. Have your thinking cap on, because it's coming. Things are going to be changing soon.